Okay, so let me start. I'm an old guy, I'll be about 80 years old this year, and I suddenly made a decision. Maybe about time I tried to produce my first YouTube video. Looking at my life today, because of my age, really there's not much of interest I can talk about. I'm happy and whatever, but nothing exciting. But perhaps something slightly unusual is that as a hobby, I keep MEDAKA rice fish. These are small fish you can keep in aquariums or outdoor ponds. Um, they originated in the rice paddies of Japan, so that sometimes they're called Japanese rice fish. They've been breeding them in Japan for over 100 years, and they've got now all sorts of different colours and types of rice fish. But they're very small, maybe an inch and a half long, something like that. But they're very popular in Japan, but you don't see them in other countries, but it appears there's more interest in them these days. There are lots of YouTube channels about keeping MEDAKA, but all in Japanese. Lots of Japanese channels. Very few in English. So I thought maybe I'll try starting one myself. Probably my video is going to be boring for 99.99% of people, but I'll still have a go. If it works, then okay. If it doesn't work and it doesn't turn out very well, then I don't mind. Maybe I'll do more videos, maybe I'll just do this one. But before I go into any detail, I must emphasize I'm very far from being an expert. So if you want to listen to what I have to say, anybody wants to disagree, I'm very happy if people want to tell me I'm wrong or there are better ways of doing things. But what I have here is my basic setup with 5 stoneware, earthenware, ceramic tubs, pots, which I used to use with plants. Now I've fixed them up so they have MEDAKA in. Now in the summer I have more of the normal plastic storage boxes, plastic storage boxes if I'm breeding. But in the winter, and it's winter time now, it's the 1st of January 2024, this is basically what I have for my toughest MEDAKA to get through the winter. I've also got a few the plastic storage boxes with my more delicate MEDAKA. I put a heater in there because I don't really want to risk losing them if the temperature goes down too far. Now, where I live is a mild winter. It never goes below 0. In fact, it never really goes below 6 degrees centigrade, which is about 42 Fahrenheit. So my MEDAKA will never go into hibernation or dormancy because the temperature doesn't get that low, but the temperature can fluctuate up and down, and then that can also cause a problem. You can maybe go down to 6 degrees. Today it's about 20, and this fluctuation throughout the winter, December, January, February, can weaken MEDAKA. So what I'm trying to do in these tubs here is maintain them at a reasonable temperature without too much fluctuation. As I say, I've got other tubs with let me sit down, with the more delicate MEDAKA I have, but I'll maybe do another video on those sometime. So here they are. In fact, these are all came from one. All the 5 tubs have got MEDAKA which come from one breeding trio of male and female, and there's probably, I don't know, to guess, well over 100. They were red and white, Probably, usually, they might be called red caps at times. But I think maybe if you can see, here are the if you like, red is not really a colour in MEDAKA, it's more orange. There are, after they've bred, there are a few red caps with just red on the head, and then here they're some white, partially red, some white, almost completely white. And then we can go through down to here where there's some juveniles. So at the moment, slowly, I'm just sorting them out into white, completely red or completely orange, and maybe the red cap. And I think I might have a few there which are showing signs of lame on the back, so I might mess around trying to breed those. Now, I'm not a serious breeder, I'm not a serious MEDAKA keeper. This is just sometimes I get really involved in it. Sometimes I just feed them and that's it. Sometimes I just have these 5 tubs. Other times I might have 5 of these and 6 or 7 plastic storage. But anyway, so where I live, as I say, is a mild winter. Lowest temperature about 6 degrees. It can even, December, January, February, can even go up to 25 degrees Celsius, which is about 80 Fahrenheit. But what I try and do is keep these outdoor MEDAKA at a temperature, water temperature of above 15 degrees C or 60 degrees Fahrenheit. At 20 degrees C, they're active, they eat, and they're fine, they're healthy. There is, I think, a guideline or a rule where at 15, 10, 5 degrees centigrade, which is about 15, 10, 5, which is 50, 60, 50, 40 Fahrenheit. So it's 15, 10, 5 centigrade, 60, 50, 40 Fahrenheit. There's that sort of 3-stage rule. At 15 degrees C, MEDAKA are moderately active, moderately eaters, they eat a moderate amount of food, and they're healthy, fine. Once they get down to 10 is about when they might stop eating or eating very, very little, and they don't move very much. That's why, really, if I can, I want to keep my winter temperatures outdoors up to about 15. If they get down to 5 degrees C, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, then they're completely dormant. They're lying motionless on the bottom of the tub. They don't eat. If you disturb them, well, they will rush about, but it weakens them considerably. And so all the time, if they're like that for a couple of months, when temperatures do rise, then they're going to get a whole lot of very thin-looking MEDAKA trying to eat some food. So, yeah, my aim, and I can do that because it's I always live in a country where it's always a very mild climate. Particularly these tougher MEDAKA. They will survive out here very, very well. They remain active. They will eat. Now, if temperatures are likely to go down at night, down to 6 or whatever, I have some covers I put on. Let me find one. Okay, so here's a cover. It's just made of corrugated plastic, about 3 sheets of corrugated plastic. I use ordinary paper stapler, just staple them together, reasonably insulates. So I put that on. If it's going to go down below, say, 12 degrees C or 50 Fahrenheit, then I might put them on at night. Also, the other thing is, because temperatures can go up to 25. As I say, it's 20 at the moment, 20°C at the moment. The females will actually start to produce eggs because, again, where I live, the shortest day is still only a bit less than 11 hours of daylight. So it's nearly 11 hours of daylight, even in the shortest day. And so some females will still produce eggs if the temperature goes up. And ideally, want to give the females a rest in the winter, ready for next summer. So I don't want them producing eggs. And what I do, I have another cover, which is basically just a few sheets of old cardboard inside a black garbage bag, and I cover that up just to reduce hours of daylight by about an hour. Down below, when I get it below 10 hours of daylight, and then the females won't breed at all. They won't breed if the temperature is low, but if temperatures go up above 20, some of them will produce eggs, and I really just want to give them a rest for the winter. Now, in these tubs, if you have a look at them, you can see inside this one, all the white areas at the bottom. I used to have plants, so I used 2-part epoxy putty. Easy enough to find, it's not very expensive, and just plaster all that on all the cracks and the holes. Eventually, if you put enough on, it will make it watertight. This one here still leaks a bit, but it's outdoors, so it doesn't matter. I've just got to top up the water now and again. Now, I used to have a lot of plants, which were a nuisance. I didn't take care of them very well. They were always going rotten or whatever. And the MEDAKA would hide in there. They'd be quite timid. They would lay eggs on there rather than on a spawning mop. So in the end, I gave up with plants, except for floating plants. So basically, I've got some small water lettuce. Small water lettuce. It just grows very easily, and these are salvinia. Now, believe it or not, these are the offshoots from giant salvinia. These are I think they call it the primary growth, and after a long time they grow into the enormous big leaves. Now they grow like duckweed, which is good because it uses up the nitrates, and every so often I just grab a handful and throw it on the compost pile because it grows so fast. In my opinion, other people might not agree with me, MEDAKA really like the open water rather than having all the heavily planted tub. If you see here, even though they've just been fed, the MEDAKA are just all out in the open space. All of them here, these over here, which is the redder orangey variety, they're just roaming around, keeping moving. They're waiting for some more food later on today, maybe, and they hardly ever go underneath the area with the floating plants. I also have small sponge filters, set low bubble rate. Theoretically, yeah, I mean, MEDAKA are okay without filtration, but then maybe you've got to have 25% water change every week. I don't like doing that. I put in these small sponge filters every so often. If it hasn't rained, so the tubs haven't overflowed from the rain, so there'll be no partial water change from the rain, every so often I maybe change 10% water change just to reduce nitrates. But nitrates not usually measurable anyway, so that's not usually a problem. And as I say, what the MEDAKA appear to really enjoy is swimming about in the open area. rather than with a lot of plants. And this is, which is what I like anyway. You can get fancy MEDAKA with long tails and all that sort of stuff, but you really, to enjoy those, you've got to watch them closely. You've got to sit close to them, whatever. I really just like to see shoals of MEDAKA like that. I don't really care what colour they are, so long as they stand out, so long as they distinguish. You can distinguish them. A whole shoal of MEDAKA. So putting maybe 20, 30 in these tubs, which may be about 10, 12 gallons each. You can put 20 or 30 MEDAKA in there, and with this small sponge filter, then they're very, very healthy. So that's another reason why I have the sponge filters. I can increase the number of MEDAKA in the tub like this, and don't appear to have any health problems. Okay, so that's about it. As I say, it's my first attempt at a YouTube video. If it works, I've only got a cheap old Chinese smartphone. Don't know how good the camera is. I don't know how good the sound is. If it works, I'll put it up on YouTube and see if there's any reaction. If not, I don't mind. I'm just doing it for my own benefit, to see whether I'm still able to do stuff like this. Okay, maybe I'll do another video sometime on the MEDAKA having the heated winter tubs. I've also got an in-ground pond, which at the moment I'm changing the filtration system, and a lot of these MEDAKA will go in there. Any MEDAKA which I don't want to breed from, or any excess MEDAKA, I put them in the pond, and they're very happy in there. But it's just sorting out the filtration system. It's all a bit old, and I'll do a video on that maybe. Okay, so that's about it. I'll go and sit in the sun and review what this video looks like. Okay, so I've reviewed what it looks like on YouTube. Maybe doesn't look too bad. I'll put it on the computer and see what it turns out like. I think probably I'll call this part 1 of keeping MEDAKA outdoors in winter conditions, mild winter conditions, and maybe next week or so I'll do part 2. I'll see what happens.